Welcome back to Jim Krieg's TV Attic presents very special guest star. And today's very special guest star, if you watched part one, you already know, is Tim Sheridan, very successful writer of comics and animation. And you know what we're doing today, Tim?
I do. I just know that I wouldn't leave. I think you wanted me to leave.
Thank you for coming back.
I should have changed. I should have brought a change of clothes.
You should have. We should have. But I always have to dress like this, like I'm Shaggy.
Oh yeah.
Because on the intro, this is how I'm dressed, and we shot it on a different day.
Like you're Shaggy.
Well, I am Shaggy. But weirdly, famous animator Bruce Timm is like that too. It's always just the same outfit, like he's a cartoon character. But it makes a lot less choices in the morning. Anyway, so we're here doing your first audio commentary.
Yeah, I've never done it before.
And even though you could be watching this on a streaming on your phone or on your computer, but if you have access to Justice League Action, which you may by having purchased it on DVD or digitally, or perhaps it's on a streaming service right now. I don't know. I'm not completely sure if it's available for streaming, but you may want to watch these episodes and pretend you're watching them on DVD and that we're doing a audio commentary for them.
We never got to do an audio commentary for these, so this is kind of a real treat for fans of the show.
Oh, that's a real treat. And it's a treat for me. I tell you that we used to do these all the time. And then they've kind of just become less and less. Oh, you know why? Because people... They stream things now. They've ruined everything. They've ruined everything.
I never got to do one. My friends and colleagues would be doing these commentaries, and my movies would come and go, and nobody ever wanted to do one for any of the stuff I worked on.
My heart is breaking for
should.
you. And now, now I'm making everything right. So if you haven't watched part one, Tim told a fascinating story about getting this job on Justice League Action. And
changed my life.
And now we're going to see what he wrought. You know, actually, what you said was that we didn't. That Alan Burnett and I didn't have any notes for you, which is
on my draft,
which is a rarity. I can assure you.
And you both called me to tell me. It was really cute. Like you were both like on the conference call on the other line. You're like, we never get to make this call, but we want to call you and let you know that we don't have any notes. We love it, and we're sending it right to production. And then Butch Lukic got it in production and had a ton of notes.
Well, but that's his job. It's his job. And the notes come before first there's a long sigh. Okay, we're going to start rolling it now.
So do we tell people, like, start if you're watching it along with?
Yes, let's assume that you've called up Unleashed, which is season 1, episode 48.
Yeah, they aired them out of slightly different order than we produced them, I think.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
So if you have it queued up, and I'm going to say you should press play in 3, 2, 1, press play. Okay, so now
the opening titles.
I don't. Can you? If you can hear the sound on this, you can't. Amazing.
No, great.
So
look at how great this is.
I haven't seen this in a long time.
Look at all these characters we got to have in the show. You were well into production on this show when I came in. I came in at the very end of the season.
Shane Glines, I think, designed all these characters, and they're so beautiful.
The title of
every single one of these could be a tattoo.
Unleashed, and I regret to this day that I didn't call it Justice Unleashed, which I think is a much better title.
It's so much better that I don't even want to watch it now. Can we just do something else?
This was a note that I shouldn't tell you this, but my our friend Teddy Biaselli, I let him read this script before I sent it to you, and he gave me a great note.
I believe you were sworn not to let outsiders in on the secret.
Yeah, but he...
one second. Can I ask my producer to turn it down a little, because I can't hear you enough, and I can tell what's happening on the show.
Ted's note for me was...
Thank you.
Was about Supergirl's voice, and he said, she should just be excited and happy and fun to have to be getting away from the Watchtower and going. I was like, that's a great idea. So I kind of gave her. It differentiated her voice from Superman's. It was a really good little note he gave me.
She became a real.
This is the
great
first
character.
Disgusting thing in the show.
Oh my gosh! Weirdly, and if you've watched the last episode, that you know that Tim just stepped in. Our dog. My family dog Roxy has
left a present.
Yeah. Well, we're doing some remodeling, and it makes her tense.
I have no idea how I'm doing this. It makes no sense.
Oh my gosh, that's so.
There's no reason for that. That was
So
my
I did-
solution to how is he blowing hot air out of his hands?
Well, I had the same. I did a Plastic Man episode for Batman Brave and the Bold, and at one point he disguises himself as the Batmobile, which means that part of his body is the wheels,
Yeah.
and I don't know if it made the final cut, but Batman basically questions him. So is part of your body the engine? Do you have pistons? How are the wheels turning? Are they just twisting and twisting?
So this whole thing, so Dexstar. That's a spoiler, but this is the whole thing was based around.
I
this
forgot it's Dexstar. I was thinking it was
There he is.
Streaky.
Now you know it's Dexstar, but the whole pitch for this came from the fact that I had just
Wait,
gotten
can I
kittens.
hear his name?
Hear whose name?
Atrocitus. I want to hear his voice.
Michael Dorn.
Is it Michael Dorn?
Yeah.
Boy, but he was great in the he and Armin Shimmerman was Azilius Ox,
Yeah.
and they told. I guess I should wait
Both
for the
from
other
Deep Space
episode, but
Nine, yeah.
they, are you trying to make conversation with these guys and not let them know that you're a Trekkie? And it's impossible because Michael Dorn just smelled it, and then he started telling stories, and we were all just riveted. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I never
More
got
about
to.
Dexstar.
I passed Michael Dorn in the hallway as he was leaving his recording session, and I was going to one, and I didn't get to meet him. I've never met him. I never talked to him. I was terrified. I was so intimidated.
Well, you're lucky he didn't speak because his voice is so deep you would fall into it, and it's like a bottomless pit.
So this was all because I had gotten kittens, and I was really fascinated by how they were growing and didn't realize that they were growing and getting bigger. And I thought, what is it like for pets who have superpowers? How would that sort of complicate their just being regular pets? So a lot of this is just like regular pet jokes, but they've got these weird powers and stuff.
So he liked the little fish and he doesn't like the big fish? I'm not sure what's happening
You
here.
know, that was a note that came from the producers that I just didn't agree with. That was you. No, I don't know. I have no idea. So yeah, the problem is he keeps feeding him, and Dexstar has work to do. And Plaz
Dexstar is supposed to be
he's supposed to be taking over the watchtower,
see.
and he can't because Plastic Man won't leave him alone.
We've got the subtitles on, and it's a lot of reading.
I know
for
it's
me.
hard for you to follow a show that you produced.
Well,
but-
it's also just reading is hard. I have to sound out the words. And I like, you know why I like cartoons? It's a lot of pictures. You know what happens in a live action show, Tim?
I wouldn't.
You know what they love? They love when people sit on couches and talk. They love that. And in a cartoon, things happen all the time.
I will write you a cartoon where two characters are sitting alone in a room coming to terms with something.
I never don't
I'm
show
so
me
bad
that.
at it. I love it. By the way, Plastic Man is played by Dana Snyder.
Oh my gosh, he was our second. I won't say who the first one is, but he wasn't nearly rubber enough. And Jay Bastian, our executive, said, well, you need someone really who's got a stretchy, wacky voice.
I never knew Dana came in second on it. Like
that's an off-screen conversation.
I see. But he's so good. He's so funny.
He's unbelievable and so funny and so nice.
There was an episode, in another episode, I came to a recording with Dana, and I had a line where Plastic Man sees someone who looks like Santa Claus, and he says, "Twinsies," and Dana Snyder stopped the recording. She said, "Hey, I got a question for the writer." He said, "What do you mean by that?" And I went for 5 minutes, stumbled around explaining, well, when two people look alike, you can call them twinsies because they're like twins.
But
and finally, he let me do the whole thing, and then finally he said, "Yeah, I know what twinsies means. I'm just asking why he's saying it. Does that guy look like Santa Claus?" I said, "Oh, yeah, sorry."
So in Plastic Man had formed into a Santa Claus?
That would have been funny. No, we should have done that.
Oh my gosh!
Look, wacky complications are ensuing because it is a cartoon and they are pets with superpowers.
I just love that they're in that they redesigned the watchtower to be essentially a gumball machine. That it's just giant psychedelic
Can you believe
gumball
they've
machine.
got this, by the way, in the watchtower, a sunroom that replicates Red Sun, and it's basically next to the sauna, but it's a Superman prison that they've created.
Oh, I thought that's what a sauna was. I just thought it
They've
had
got the steam
red
room, the
sun
sauna,
of-
and a Superman prison are all sitting next to each other.
I like the element.
Look at this transformation
Oh my
sequence. How great is
gosh.
this? Look at this. Look at this. I mean, this is beautiful. Who designed it? I want to know. It's gorgeous. Look at
Is
that.
this a Shant episode? I can't remember who
I
directed
think
this.
Dexstar was created by our friend Jeff Johns, if I'm not mistaken, right? the
Yes, I
comics.
believe you're right. Oh gosh, it's a
And that's what he does in the
hairball.
comics. He fiery hairballs.
Oh my gosh, what a weird world. Oh, there's this. You're absolutely right. Sauna, showers, red
Superman
sunroom.
prison. Yeah. Look at
Oh
this.
my.
What's this?
Oh gosh.
What would this be? It's
Well,
a
if I've
distress
learned
call?
nothing else
Who could he be?
from cartoons, is that's the shape of communicating with fish.
Look
if
at
you're
that.
Aquaman,
Streaky. You didn't think you were going to get streaky in this
man, I
too,
love
did you?
me some streaky. What's
I
the
mean-
what's the super monkey's name? Bibbo.
Beppo the super monkey, Comet the super horse.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I wish I'd gotten them in here. I tried to get them in. I wanted to put all the super pets in.
Oh my
But
gosh.
I think Butch probably said too expensive. You can't put the horse in there. Nobody
horses
wants.
never look
We
good.
can't do a horse.
We don't want to send money over to My Little Pony. Oh,
I mean,
you know, it's the problem. You get so absorbed in these episodes as you
I got to tell you.
forget to be entertaining.
I got to tell you, the best note I got from Butch Lukic on this show was Plastic Man earlier in the episode is watching television, and
He's watching soap operas. I
Well,
believe.
that's in the final version. Yeah, he's watching a soap opera and he's really wrapped up in it, right? But that wasn't what was in the original script. In the original script, he's watching one of those daily judge shows that they put on, like the People's Court or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's a show called Judge Tilly.
Uh-huh.
And it cuts to Judge Tilly, and Judge Tilly is simply a chicken in judge's robes. And there are people that have cases in front of this chicken, and they're like, guilty or innocent or whatever. And the chicken's just like,
Does the chicken peck the guilty or innocent button?
Yeah. And I put this in, and I got the note back from Butch. He'd written it on the script, and he X'd it out, and he wrote in giant letters, social commentary. And I was like, what? It's a chicken in judge's robes. Like, I wish this was social commentary. What is he talking about? But I changed it, right? And then years later, Butch and I were working on Man of Tomorrow, which is a Superman
I
movie.
really
we
have
made
no
that you
idea
produced.
where this is going.
And I was telling him, I was reminding him of that story about how how weird it was that he thought that the chicken in the judge's robes was social commentary, that it was just a dumb joke from me. And he looked at me and he said, "That was a joke." I said, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "I was joking with you." Of course it wasn't social commentary. That was the joke. And I had been had for years. But
So
he had out-joked me, and he was genius. His joke
do you
was
think
funnier.
he would have kept it in and you changed
He
it?
probably would have, yeah.
Oh my
And I
gosh.
changed it, yeah.
Well, I love Butch, but he's
By the
not.
way, this is the second animal crapping in the show.
Oh wow.
And it's inside Plastic
Oh my
Man.
gosh, that can't be good
This
for
is
him.
disgusting.
Yes, I can't believe. How did we not get a note on that?
I think we did.
And people don't. Nobody cares.
I think I did the thing where like the South Park guys do, where I made it disgusting in the script so that we
you can then
dialed
dial it
back,
down?
and it was like, oh, okay, we just see him squat and
yeah. Oh, I
and
see.
push.
So draft one is there's an enormous pile of scat.
steaming
and they're like,
scat.
no. It's like, oh, it happens very subtly inside Plastic Man's body.
We'll cut the steam, and they're like, great, done, approved, green light.
Oh, I was going to say about Butch is he doesn't laugh out loud, and so you don't always know when he's joking.
Yeah, that's it.
I need a visual. I need a
this is-
visual cue.
Remember, this was my first thing I ever did with him. This episode that we're
Well,
watching
not
right
only
now.
that, it's the first thing you really ever
Yes,
did professionally as a writer.
Exactly. And so I got that social commentary note, was baffled by it, but I made the change anyway.
Well, that's you know what you proved that you are a professional because you didn't agree with a note and you just did it. However, it would have been hilarious and a classic for all time if you'd left that in.
For a while, I did say to myself, you know what? I think that was social commentary. I think I was really smart about that. What I was trying to say was blah, blah, blah.
Wow, these
Well,
credits
and by
go
the way,
by
you
fast.
saw, I don't even know if you saw my name. It flew by. It flew by.
Remember that in the last episode, you'll know that I say a long thing about how important it is to see your name on the screen for such a long time.
The director, Doug Murphy.
Doug is great.
Directed this episode, and he ended up directing.
He went to Curious George.
He did. He went to DreamWorks for a while, but he also did my first movie that I wrote, which was
So you
Gourmet
did a
Ghost.
Scooby. You did a
Scooby-Doo.
Scooby before.
Scooby-Doo and the Gourmet Ghost. And Doug and I, we became friendly from doing all this stuff together.
You
So
know,
my
if
first
you
movie
had not
and my
done,
first
if you had,
episode of television, he
if
directed.
you had not done that movie, I would not have had the opportunity to introduce my daughter to Bobby Flay
Mhm.
and
Giada De Laurentiis.
Giada De Laurentiis. And
Yeah.
so I got both of those pictures. So if she does become a chef, she can put those on her wall.
That's amazing. That was fun.
That was great.
So many great
I
memories.
say we do it again.
Let's do it again.
So tell me
So
before
what
we
happened
started.
was-
So you handed that in.
Yeah.
We said fine.
I
we
said,
ignored you.
If there's anything else ever, I figured that's the only thing I'm going to get to do. But I said, took a chance. I said, if there's anything else that comes up, I'm here. And I lived right around the corner from the ranch where you guys had
that's
your
right.
offices, so I could be there in 2 minutes if you ever needed me in a jiffy. And so Unleashed.
You lived in a van right outside the gate, I believe.
I just parked right outside the ranch in case I got the phone call on the bat phone, But so we did Unleashed, and I really did not think I'd get a call. But then one day, out of the blue, you called and said, "Hey, come in. There might be something." And it turned out, I don't know what happened. One of the episodes you were going to do maybe fell out, and you weren't going to do it, and you needed to come up with something else.
Social commentary.
And I came in and sat down in Alan's office, and this is the first time I met Alan in person because he had been on live via satellite from
he was
Skype.
he was building his retirement in Florida.
That's right. And so the three of us sat there, and you and Alan had just done a tour. Alan had taken you on a tour.
This is literally the second time you wrote something was because of this. Yeah. Okay, so I guess I tell.
You remember the tour that he took you on?
This is the story. Our building it was quite close to what was then the Burbank Studios, which had been where they shot Carson and all these things.
Famously, The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson.
And Mark Guggenheim, who was running Supergirl and The Flash. And
he's a great guy, good friend. Love
well, I was buttering him up because I really thought, I thought maybe he would give Alan an episode because I knew Alan was getting close to retirement, and then collaterally maybe I would get to do a live action show because that's we're all trying to scramble our way out of the lobster barrel of animation so that we can get residuals, and then none of that happened. But because but Mark got busy with something, we had a drive on, we went on the lot. And we got to the office, and it's like, oh, he's in the middle of something, Mark. So you've got about an hour. So which happens with live action people because they're very important things happen.
That's right.
They need to happen right away because they're real people waiting around as opposed to cartoons can wait forever.
Mm-hmm.
So Alan tells me that one of his first jobs in Hollywood, the great Alan Burnett, who did, look him up if you, I can't even.
Legend.
So one of his first jobs was as a page, an NBC page on that lot.
And a lot of people these days, I don't think even understand what a page is. Like they know it maybe from 30 Rock, the guy. Who
Kenneth.
Yeah, but it's a kind of a thankless, low-level position. But you kind of start out that way.
You're like a gopher, but you're also a little bit of a tour guide.
Right.
And one thing he would do on this lot was give tours. And he said. And he looks over at me, kind of like a devilish look, and said, "Do you want to take the tour?" And I said, "Hell yes, I want to take the tour." So I got my own private tour of this lot, and we went. He took me to the Carson stages that are, I believe, still there. And he said, "I saw Jimmy Stewart standing right there," and he took me through like all the celebrities he saw. Then underneath, there's a secret tunnel. Mm-hmm. That Carson would use to go from the stage where they shot The Tonight Show to his dressing rooms. And that way, if there was a nuclear war, well, he would be the only survivor, I suppose, like Burgess Meredith in Twilight Zone. Mm-hmm. And but anyway, I got the whole tour, and we had a great time. It turned out great.
Do you remember what happened immediately after you did that tour with Alan?
I do not.
You came back to the ranch, and you telephoned me, and you said, "Get over here."
It was the same day?
It was the same day. And I came over, and you guys told me this story that you just told.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You said, "We just did this."
I'm boring you again.
And you said, it got us thinking that what if Booster Gold gave tours of the Watchtower, the Justice League Watchtower
At night,
on the side, to make a buck.
Yeah.
And Alan was giggling at the the prospect of it, and the two of you were like little kids in the candy store, so excited. And the three of us sat there and just started going through the ideas for all the different things that could happen on this tour that Booster would do. And then you guys said, "Okay, great, go write it,
go do that."
And
go
I
do
went
that.
home and I wrote it,
And
sent
that
it in.
is why this was the greatest job ever.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is literally, I mean, because think about it. You do this with your friends all the time anyway. Wouldn't it be funny if ...
Yeah.
And then, but if somebody else is writing a check, then you say, go write that thing. And then you write it, and then we make a couple changes, and then it goes to other really talented people, and then people say the words into a microphone, and then then you have this.
Thank goodness that running a television show requires so much, and you're working on so many episodes, working with so many people. Thank goodness it requires so much of your attention, because you or Alan could have written this thing in a second and it would have been great. But because of all the other demands that are on you, you were like, let's call that guy Tim Sheridan. We just had it on Unleashed and did a good job and see what he can come up with. And I was very lucky.
Well, you're always behind. It feels like when you get the green light, you're already behind schedule.
Yeah.
And so anything that you can do to move the ball forward just a little bit is such a relief. So getting another episode and then you're there when we're like generating it, and then you just go away, and it was like,
2 minutes away.
So that's one thing we're not going to have to think about. Now let's go back to this other disaster.
The fact that I lived 2 minutes away got me that gig, I think, too, because you guys had just gotten back from the tour. And you were like, what about this Booster Gold idea? Get Tim Sheridan over. He can get here in 2 minutes. And I got there and we did it.
Amazing. Yeah. Well, let's watch it. Oh, okay. This is the same show. So you know that if you queue up Season 1, Episode 44, Watchtower Tours, Justice League Action, and just press that play button in 3, 2, 1.
There we go. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you showed this episode at like WonderCon or something before the series debuted. And it was one of the coolest things for me ever. Like, people were watching it, laughing in a big room of people, of fans. That was amazing. I'd never had anything like that happen before.
It was so much fun. I have no memory of that.
This is the great Kevin Conroy, of course, as Batman, and Diedrich Bader as Booster Gold.
You know, I will say, and I don't think people always appreciate this, is that Kevin is funny, and I believe, he expressed to me that he enjoyed being able to play Batman, but do it and he keeps the character is consistent with BTAS Batman, he has a.
You have to let me tell everybody about what Kevin Conroy did. He was improvising some of the stuff. He was laughing at the lines that I wrote for him, because he's basically just turned over the Watchtower to Booster Gold. And he said, the reasoning he says is, yeah, I need to get back. This is in the script. He's like, I need to get back to the Batcave anyway. Check the mail. Which to me was hysterical. And it made Kevin laugh. It made Kevin laugh. But then he kept going and he said, check the mail, feed the cat. And which actually, now that you think about it, might sound lascivious for Batman. I don't know. But he was laughing and he had the best. It was wonderful. That was the first day I met him, was when he was doing that and having a great time doing this funny stuff that he never gets to normally do.
Well, it made me happy to think that it was a different thing. A different way to play Batman, and something he'd like to do. And then Diedrich Bader, you know what do I love, Tim?
Oh, a dumb guy.
I love a dummy. I love a dummy.
A dumb guy. And Diedrich plays him so well. I've gotten to work with Diedrich on other stuff too. He came in, he plays King Randor on Masters of the Universe for me. And he is the opposite of a dumb guy.
He
can do anything.
He can do anything. But I just think he's probably one of the most timeless dumb guys.
Totally.
He's such a good dummy. He's on a Christopher Lloyd as Reverend Jim in Taxi, dumb. That kind of.
You're my favorite.
He's so good at it. I always I'm a little sad to see him play a character with nuance and depth.
This.
We did this. I remember this joke.
This joke. The one coming up. He something happened where I was able. This is like how my training was aping your voice on Spooksville, a show that you had been running at the Hub Network, and I had done some webisodes for it. And I read when I came onto this show, Justice League Action. I read your episode. I think it was called Booster's Millions, and it was a Booster Gold centric episode, and it was hysterical. And so,
was it the Dinosaur Island episode?
Yes, it was. And I started. So when I tapped into Booster Gold's voice, I had this idea of what it was based on what your voice for him was, and I wrote Booster Gold, and now after this episode, you guys kept bringing me back and having me add Booster Gold into everything because not only is
Diedrich is so funny,
hysterical,
and he's a dummy and he's greedy. It's a twofer.
And for some reason, I could easily hit that in the writing, like that he could make shine, and like we were a good team, I think, on making Booster.
Well,
dumb and
you
fun.
had a real take on his his voice.
It was lucky. It was like just lightning striking.
Well, there were things like when the I believe you did the Space Cabbie episode where he says "frame it up" for the selfie with
The
Space
selfie
Cabbie.
help. Yeah,
He's so funny.
he's hysterical.
So
So
this is the Boudica was a great call. I've only recently learned on and this is embarrassing. I shouldn't admit this, but on I heard a Rest is History podcast talking about Boudica, who's a early British warrior chieftain. She fought the Romans, and now it has even more resonance to me.
this is them in something called the Justice League Kitchen, which was from the comics, which was like their holographic training simulator.
Not unlike the
Room.
Danger Room.
It's the Danger Room, but it was called the Kitchen, and I was obsessed with it. And I tried to get it into every episode I could, and I still try to get it into stuff all the time.
What were you obsessed because it's called the Kitchen?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's what the joke is here, is he thinks they're going in to get snacks, and they go in and they almost die.
Because he's a dummy.
Because he's a dummy. But he's a lovable dummy. The best joke in the world
is the
would
Ken
be coming
joke?
up, and
It
had
wasn't.
to cut
I
it.
mean,
The Ken one, Ken Jeong does this great line read and this coming up, but there was a joke that was in this that we had to cut, and it pains me because it was one of the greatest jokes I think I have ever written.
I'm so excited.
Oh, here we go. The big shocking twist. Toy Man, what happened to your mustache? So this kid right here, this was never a real kid. This is he's a
automaton who's programmed to
owned
take
by
over
Toy Man, right? But originally in the script, he was a bomb that was set to go off, and there was an incident that happened somewhere in the world while we were working on the show, and we had to remove
You're right.
references to bombs from the show, even though this was going to come out much later.
Yes,
and,
but people
were very
sensitive.
sensitive about it, and it was probably the right decision to make. But it meant that I had to lose this joke, which was this kid, this fake kid, this automaton, who I think we ended up naming
Billy or Tommy?
Billy, but I don't know if he was Teddy. At some point he was Teddy, named after our friend Teddy Biaselli. But I think he was originally Billy. And Booster just doesn't get it. That the problem
he
is
never catches on.
And finally they tell him, they're just like, there's Ken's line reading, I don't know, I'm crazy, which was hysterical. Finally they tell him, look, Billy was after Billy explodes, he doesn't understand where the explosion came from. He said, Billy was the bomb. And Booster says, don't you think I know that? We all loved Billy. And
that
it was
is
my
a loss.
favorite
That is
joke,
a loss.
and we just couldn't use it because of the bomb reference. Oh, look at that. Another surprise.
I love a
The
surprise.
great Mark Hamill.
All I want is a surprise.
Great Mark Hamill. I can't believe how lucky I was to come in.
Is this, we recorded this the day that, the week that Force Awakens
This was
opens?
the week Force Awakens came out, and Mark Hamill regaled us with stories
Oh, it was
in
great.
the booth about Star Wars and what was happening.
He had been there like in an earlier episode, and we were trying to pry information out of him, and he was so professional.
I don't want to repeat the stuff he told us because he told us stuff that I can't believe he told us.
Well, this is the session where you got that great picture of Mark and Kevin that
They
has
asked
been
me to
used
take a
dozens of
photo,
times.
and I snapped it, and they used it. They sent it back and forth on each other's birthday on social media for years.
Well, now, this is also in that same photo session. I got my producer, who was a boy at the time. I got him with Mark and Kevin, and then that night we rewatched. We'd already seen Force Awakens, but we went back. We went like right from the ranch and
Amazing.
watched it again,
Amazing.
just for the final 2 minutes of the movie. He's not even in it for 2 minutes. It's just a shot, right?
I feel like there's a joke coming up too, and I wonder. I think we cut it. There was a joke. There was a whole running gag about marshmallows for some reason.
Oh
that I
yeah,
written,
yeah.
And I wrote it.
That's a
You
great
loved that one.
joke.
Batman is not available. I always hated those things on the voicemail when it would just change. The voice would just
Oh my
change
gosh, it's still funny.
to the recorded. When you record your own name.
We talked over a moment though that's so important though is that there's a line in the script that Ken got, the Toy Man got, and where they ask him why he does this stupid thing, and he's not a dummy, but so Tim's line was, I don't know, I'm crazy, and it's just a flat line, but the reading he gave us, we were on the floor. He was so good.
I know, it's not much of a line, but he made it into something that was so good and memorable. I just can't believe it.
And it's of course it's Oscar winning, the late great Cloris Leachman as Granny.
I went to that recording. I
have a Cloris Leachman story, but I'm gonna have to wait till we do the episode that it happened.
So the gag was, you're supposed to think it's a bunch of holographic, because they're in the kitchen. It's holographic boosters, but it turns out
It's alternate
they're
universes.
not. It's just a whole bunch of different boosters from different timelines, because they've got a phone tree. Whenever they need to get a hold of each other, they do, and they all gather. And one of them, they're eating. I had this dumb joke about marshmallows, and one of them he
I
eats
know
the
what
marshmallow,
it is.
and
It's
he's sad.
swamp mellows.
He's like bog mellows. He goes, oh, these are just. He's so excited about marshmallow.
he never
What is
had one.
marshmallow? And
They
he
don't
eats
have them
one.
in his
We
universe.
don't have them. He's a booster from a world without marshmallows, and he eats it, and he goes, oh, these are just bog mellows. Which is the dumbest joke. We probably needed to. There you go. He's giving out the marshmallows. I love Dietrich Bader.
Oh, Batman's there. Oh, what a killjoy.
He improvised a moment. There was Dietrich improvised a little thing where he said, one of the boosters is from a world without love, and
I'm
Dietrich,
sad. I'm
Dietrich
sad.
just goes, I'm sad.
Man, these designs, Shane is so. I mean, it doesn't. They're so recognizable and they're so great and cartoony.
But the jokes I would write, and the jokes I think that we nailed, and that we
Yachts
all
of
wrote
Fun.
together.
Oh my gosh, I loved Yachts of Fun.
Was not my joke. That was Alan Burnett.
Well, he's a genius.
He's a genius. Alan Burnett put in Yachts of Fun. Look at that. Jake
Oh, Jake.
Castorena.
Jake's now on X-Men 97.
X-Men 90, the genius behind X-Men 97, and he directed this. This was when I met him. He's such a genius. He's
How are we
great.
doing on time? Do you have to? I know you've got important comic book things to do.
No, let's do another one.
Okay, let's do another one. And so set up.
I got to give you the
Oh wait,
setup.
are we half an hour in? I have I'm supposed to pause for station identification, which may be a commercial featuring me. But we're gonna pause here for a moment.
Let's
and then,
all go to the lobby.
Yeah, and stay right where you are.
Well, give him a little air and then do welcome back.
Okay, this is the air, and this is the welcome back. Welcome back. I'm doing this great. This is my first show. I think I'm killing it.
Terrible for your producer. I really do.
He's very patient. Okay, so Tim, take us further along in this journey of episodes of. Actually, I think this next one you wrote other episodes before this, but this is just one that
you had me come in and do some rewrites on some stuff.
you did the Christmas one with Paul.
Which blew
we
my
should do
mind.
that one too.
You had me come in and do some rewrites on a Paul Dini script, animation legend, Paul Dini.
And that was based on a comic book that Alan wrote.
Yes, that's right.
That then Paul did a draft, and then you did a draft, and there's so much good stuff in here.
I couldn't believe it.
And the guy Chris Diamantopoulos, the guy played Green Lantern, Green Arrow. He was so funny, and
he was great. And you needed more. He was so funny that you were like, we need to give him some more comedy in this episode. Like he had been.
That's where the ice joke
came from. It had been written
from.
at a time before you had recorded him, and you didn't know how funny he was.
Yeah.
And then when you found how funny he was, you're like, we need to punch up his comedy in this episode.
Oh yeah.
So I gave him a lot more to do in my version of it. But anyway, that's Party Animal.
That's
a great episode.
His hero worship.
Episode.
His hero worship of Batman is very
yes.
amusing.
The whole thing is predicated on his wanting to be friends with Batman.
However, this episode is she wore Red Velvet. It's season 1, episode 49, and I think this came from a dream.
Well,
am I wrong?
No,
did Alan Burnett say he had this dream?
Was I wrote an episode. You asked me to write one more episode, and you had been asking for a Mad Mod episode, which is a
First
great
of all,
Teen Titans
Butch
villain.
was asking for a Mad Mod.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Teen Titans villain, and everybody wanted this Mad Mod episode, and I wrote a script for an episode that we never produced, and it was called, the title of the episode was "And Then There's Mod," which is a reference.
I pre-laughed, even hearing it for the second time today.
For
It's
those
still
who
funny.
don't know, it's a reference to the old Norman Lear sitcom Maude, which the refrain of the theme song was "And Then There's Maude."
I hope we don't have to pay for that just for you saying it.
Alan Burnett told me that he fell out of his chair when he read the title, which to me was everything.
Yeah,
that was everything. But I wrote this, and then Butch Lukic got a hold of it, and he said, "We can't do this. This is too expensive. We can't. This is unproducible." And so it was a big episode. I don't know. It was a big episode.
There's a lot of plaid. There's a lot of like black and white checks in it. And that's hard to animate.
So we had no time. We had to get an episode into production. And Alan said, "Get over here right now." And so I'm in Alan's office, and he just,
what you need know about Alan is he has a sweet tooth.
I can't say enough about how.
We would go to lunch. We go to Lemonade or somewhere, and you get to it's like a cafeteria, and you get to the end of the line, and he says, "What about some of that ice cream cake?"
Well, he's like, I just see him. He's sitting at his desk. He's like, "You got any ideas?" And I pitched him a couple of bad ideas. And he's like, No. He goes, What if it's a Booster Gold episode? He goes, and what if he had a wife? What if he had like a girlfriend or a wife? And what if she's from the future? And what if she's called Red Velvet? And then I just sat there taking notes while he started spinning out some ideas about what this thing was.
He was a real miracle. There so few people could break a story.
Yeah,
extempore.
I'll never. He sat there in his chair, kind of leaning back, looking into the sky, and he just kept coming up with like sort of different scenarios and different things that could happen in this thing. And he gave me enough that I could get started. But then I went off and tried to add my own ridiculousness into it as well, and then ended up delivering "She Wore Red Velvet." And by the way, he came up with the title too. He goes, and it's called. I will never forget it. Before I left to go write it, he goes, and it's called "She Wore Red Velvet."
The one most wonderful thing about that is this job is where you can just say things and then they become real. I mean, they don't become real, but they become television. But they exist, and they will be in other people's heads. There are viewers out there who remember this episode, but they'll be watching it again with us right now. As I said, season 1, episode 49. She wore red velvet.
And pressing play in
3, 2, 1. This is the third time the first time I saw this title sequence, I just thought, oh my gosh, this is real. We're really doing this. It's interesting. It starts with the villains.
But the unfortunate thing is that a lot of people didn't see this show because it got sort of programmed into oblivion.
Oh my gosh. I feel like Cartoon Network programmed it at like 6:47
in the morning.
And it was
one 11-minute cartoon at like 6:47 in the morning.
And you know why? Because it was exactly what they asked for. They wanted, they felt that Teen Titans Go was somehow like the fans were disliking it because it was disrespectful.
What's funny to me is
so they wanted this.
Now I do this a lot. I go to conventions and bookstores.
Oh my
and
gosh,
I get asked to come in and sign things.
You wrote it into being.
At the time, I hadn't done anything like that, but Hero
It
of
makes
the
me think of the
future.
when way back on Green Lantern the animated
I thought you were
series.
Animal Man.
I sat down with Giancarlo Volpe and Bruce Timm and I were signing the poster at San Diego Comic-Con, and and Giancarlo and I had never done this before, so we started signing the posters with a silver Sharpie,
Mhm.
and Bruce looks over and goes, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Well, I'm just signing the poster," and he goes, "You're signing it with your signature. Someone could get your check, and then they would have control of your finances."
What's funny?
And then he looks over at Giancarlo and is like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Well, I'm just drawing a little doodle on the poster." He's like, "You're going to do that on every single poster? There's 600 people in line."
It's called a remark. Yeah. No, that's I crafted a new signature, an autograph signature when I started signing my books.
No, me too.
And then, but now it's funny because now, no, we don't do anything by signature really. Like now, you have to sign on the screen.
Yeah,
and
that's
it never
true.
looks good. But nobody cares anymore. They don't care if your signature looks like your signature anymore.
It's so strange. I've seen my producer sign those screens with a smiley face, and I thought that can't be legally binding.
I thought All That Glitters is the perfect title for his self-serving autobiography, right?
Well, we've never read the autobiography. We'll never know.
I think I should write All That Glitters, the Booster Gold autobiography.
This is totally off topic, but I will tell you that I was confident in you coming to that we'd be able to talk because I was there. I at the last Comic-Con when you had to do a game show, and
I was hosting a game
it was
show,
you
yeah.
hosted a game show
Probably
based
gonna do it
with
again.
DC trivia that
Mhm.
looked a lot like the Joker's Wild, and there were 3 screens and they'd rotate. And for some reason, and if you've never been to San Diego Comic-Con, you should know that if there's a line, people will just get in line. They don't ask what
That's
the
true.
line is for. They just know that there might be something worth their while if they get in line.
Speaking of lines, though, you are missing so many great lines in this.
I'm sorry.
There's so much stuff that we're like, people are like, they're going to be listening to you and they're going to be like, wait a minute, what was that hilarious line about the volcano?
You know what? I'm going to tell my the game show story next time. Next time when we're just
it was a mess. but
Well,
we
no,
had
it
fun.
was the best thing I've ever seen. It was because everyone in line knew nothing about like they were like losing out on like softballs of like who's Dick Grayson,
It was bizarre.
and every single person could not do it.
People had no idea. They knew nothing about DC
fantastic,
Comics.
and you started and watching you. I mean, the comedy is watching you squirm,
Yeah.
and then start trying to make the
How
questions
to make a show
easy enough.
out of yeah.
And
I
it
would just
was-
make up questions
It
trying
was
to make
so
them easy.
funny.
It was a mess. There was a joke earlier here that I had to rewrite because he said Booster got the word wrong, and he's like, I happen to be an intellectual, and the way it was written originally, I'm an intellectual and a philanderer. And you guys said, they won't let us say philanderer. And so we changed it to Philistine. And of course, he means to say philanthropist, but he can't come up with it.
What's the? It should have been philatelist. Is that someone who reads the bumps on your head? That's a better
right.
joke.
Is that what that is? It sounds dirty, though. You don't want to.
There
Give
is
people
so
the wrong
much
idea.
freaking action
Well,
going
it's
on
called-
right now.
I don't know if you know the name of the show.
It should have been Justice League comedy because there's so many good jokes.
It's amazing we got so much comedy.
but
and
I
so much
think that
action.
there is there's action and jokes.
Another great joke earlier that I can't believe you guys let me do these jokes. Like, I can't believe I wrote these jokes and you put them in the show. Like, for instance, Wonder Woman, has the mail come yet to the Watchtower? And she says, it's Sunday. And he says, what? They don't deliver mail to volcanoes on Sunday? She's like, it's Sunday. And that's what it is. She says, it's Sunday and this is a volcano. That's what it is. And there's a whole thing about I had this idea that in the future, like this woman who becomes Red Velvet, Margot Montgomery, he's about to tell the story now. She's heir to the Montgomery regular toilets fortune, which doesn't make any sense now in the show because we cut out the setup to it.
What is the setup?
The setup was that there it is, the Montgomery regular toilets fortune, and the idea was that
there were
talking
intelligent
toilets had become sentient in the future and were trying to enslave humanity. And there was there was a shot of a toilet going down the street being chased by cops. Shooting lasers out of itself, and it's a dumb thing, but it set up the necessity.
That we need we need toilets that are no longer intelligent.
Toilets go crazy, and we needed regular toilets, and that's why they became rich.
Part of the weird lattice of coincidence is when you showed up this morning, you told me a very long story about selecting a new toilet for your house. Yeah. And that you walked down, and I may be, let me know if I'm misrepresenting this story, but that you walked down in a fancy toilet store, down an aisle of toilets, and they all opened for you as they were saluting you.
Yeah, as I walked, they all in sequence started opening as if I was being saluted, and it almost made me cry. And I don't know what happened, but they talked me into buying a very expensive Japanese toilet.
Is it? There is a tragedy in only being able to bring the one toilet home. When all those, it's sort of like going to the dog shelter,
they all
need homes.
They do.
Not all of them are going to get homes.
I look at the regular toilets in my house now, and I think, oh,
I know they're like junkyard dogs.
Like, is it
they need love. They need exactly what was on your shoe this morning.
This character, again, this just came out of the mind of Alan Burnett sitting in front of me because we didn't have any ideas and we needed an episode now. It ended up being, by the way, the series finale. It aired last, even though you had written an episode to be the finale of the show, but they aired this one last for some reason.
Really?
Yeah. Ding.
I can't believe
my suit's done.
I can't believe he still has that towel around his head.
So this was the first time I ever got to play with like time travel timeline jokes.
Yeah.
And I had so much fun with it, but I worried that it was too esoteric and difficult to follow.
It's you could make the argument that it is a hat on a hat.
Yeah. The joke is he thinks that leaving her at the altar
is what turned her into a
supervillain. But in fact, Batman is going to actually solve the. He wanted to make her day extra special, so he went back in time. He got her a celebrity bridesmaid, and it's Batman, history's greatest bat, which is, I think, that says everything about the dumb guy Booster Gold. He doesn't really know who Batman is, and yet he thinks he's history's greatest bat. That's all he knows.
Does Batman figure it out
Batman
right here?
figures it out right here that it wasn't going back. It wasn't leaving her at the altar.
It was marrying her and making her life
marrying
miserable.
her.
Yeah.
That's what made her into a villain because he was the worst husband ever.
Oh gosh, you put a clue in. You know what, Tim? In this ridiculous episode, you made a fair play mystery.
Yeah.
If you were watching closely, you would have known that Red Velvet had married Booster Gold.
And here comes Red Velvet to explain he was the worst husband ever. We went through a million different versions of what the things were. He invested my family's fortune in fly-by-night schemes, beachfront property on Pluto. I think these were all Alan, by the way. Self-zipping pants, nuclear barbecues.
The actor's voice is very funny, but I do remember this was she had never done voiceover, like animation acting before. And so she wanted to make eye contact. We did these, oh my gosh, we got to do these in the studio with most of the actors. And it was such a thrill to have them work off of each other. But sometimes they wouldn't. They're not making eye contact and acting with each other. They're acting just with their voices. So they only look at their lines and look at the microphone. Mm-hmm. So there was a little bit of a learning curve.
This is the beautiful moment where it looks like she's gonna, and she ditches him because he goes bald, very, very bald, and he snores like a lumberjack. Yeah. Aww.
You
feel for him at the end, right?
The pain has to be there.
I know. And this is, of course, the timeline reset, and everything's okay because she never became Red Velvet. I love
Rachel
time
Kimsey is good in
solutions.
Everything.
Yeah. This whole cast was unreal. It's quite heartbreaking in the end.
Yeah.
This is sweet.
Oh. You know, the line between comedy and tragedy is so close.
So we had to fix it. We had to give it a joke.
Yeah.
At the end. And he says, "Do you have gigantic number?" I guess that's my thing now. And then you got gigantic digits, and he improvised this line. Ready? Come on. Here it comes.
Oh my
Bats, come on. She's huge. I think he wrote. I think
Shaunt.
he
Shaunt.
did.
It's a Shaunt
She's
directing.
huge was his line.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Well,
I had the best time working on that show.
me too.
I can't believe the jokes I got through. My husband, he thinks the greatest joke I ever wrote is on an episode called Keeping Up with the Kryptonians of Justice League Action. It's
love
a
that
Booster
episode.
Gold joke, and he goes back in time. He sees, or he shows up in a place where he sees Supergirl and Superman fighting each other, which seems odd. And he's watching it, and he's asked by someone, why are you watching this? And he says, because, he's like, it's weird because normally when something like this happens, it's because I went back in time and swallowed a butterfly or something. But this time I know it wasn't me. And they say, how do you know? And he goes, because I switched to caterpillars, which to me is a hilarious joke that my husband says is the funniest joke I've ever written. And I can't believe it made it into the show. And it is. It's in the show. And it's funny and it's dumb and it's too smart for a kid's cartoon.
If you say so for yourself.
Well,
No,
it is in terms of like when you think about, well, obviously caterpillars become butterflies, so he really didn't fix anything at all. It is so stupid, and I can't believe it got in.
Before we wrap up, it reminds me of the jokes that we've written and love that no one else does.
Oh yeah, no,
and I recently did a it's not a tweet now, but someone had posted an image from X-Men 98 that showed Peter Parker and our MJ from Spider-Man the Animated Series, who, as you know, has been trapped in a pink billowing limbo for 30 years. And then that kind of proved that they were together again. And they used essentially the same models that we had in that series, except that they had added pockets to her yellow sweater. And my joke was that she had been in a pocket dimension.
Oh,
and
man.
I didn't get a single heart for that. I just thought, I've waited all my life for that tweet, and no one cared.
Now, do you remember that Justice League Action, we didn't know how it was going to do anything, and there were plans for a second season.
Oh, I know.
And
I'm still planning.
And the big thing that
maybe if enough listeners write in right now.
The thing that you guys pitched me, and this is for a kid who came out of nowhere, first job in television, came in, wrote some episodes of this show, had a great time with you and Alan and everybody and Butch, just amazing. But you pitched the possibility that you'd bring me in as story editor in the second season of the show, which would be a huge shot in the arm career-wise for me. We ended up not getting a second season of the show, but then there was an idea that we might do a spin-off.
I don't remember this at all.
The Bat family in the Justice League Action universe, but just all focused in Gotham City.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so we had a lot of ideas, but then you know what happened? The reason why that went away? Because Butch accepted the gig to make the Long Halloween animated movie,
which eventually got folded into the Tomorrowverse.
Hired me to write that screenplay, and that's what we ended up doing. We did those movies instead of going to the.
Did you write Long Halloween before?
Yeah, it was the first
Man
one we
of Tomorrow?
did. It was supposed to be a standalone. It wasn't going to be a series of movies. We were just going to do Long Halloween, and it was only supposed to be one 85-minute movie. And I went away. One day, I went away to go figure out the story. I came back to you the next day. I said, I can't do this in one movie. This has to be two movies. And I can't believe you guys went to Warner Brothers and said, it's got to be two movies. And they said, okay. That doesn't happen. Like, that doubled their investment.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money on the line. And they did it because it would be better for the story.
I know. I think we convinced them because in all of the exit interviews they would do when they would do these screenings, everyone always wanted to see that. And so we said, it's so important that we can't shortchange them.
And hopefully they looked at it and thought, well, good, we can double dip and make a little more money or something.
Well, we said, well, we had to amortize the cost of there's so many characters and locations over two movies.
But it worked. It worked. And
perhaps if a listener or viewer wants to hear that story, they could hit like and subscribe And also tell a friend, because that's really the best way to get the word out about this podcast. And then we'll do another episode where we talk about Man of Tomorrow, and when we do...
we should do that.
And we should do...
Because we've never done commentary for those movies.
Which is so... I guess that was the pandemic, because we should have. They should have put those in the movie theater.
Yeah, but how great would that be?
No, it would be great, and you can comment on that in the comments below this image.
Yeah. Don't read the comments though.
I'm not reading them. I'm gonna
post comments.
That's part of my producer's job. Is he will pass on the positive comments to me, both of them.
That's right.
Tim, I can't thank you enough for being here. I know you have to go because you got some important comic book work to do today. Any minute now,
Important comic book work.
Very important. And it was a delight to have you here in Jim Krieg's TV Attic.
Thank you for having me, my friend. And thank you for taking a chance on me 10 years ago. I really appreciate it.
Oh, I've only benefited. That's it. Bye, everybody.